listen to the question and answer in English within 5 seconds. How long have you been watching TV? Starting with I have.
I have been watching TV since 2 o'clock this afternoon.
What should someone know about John? Starting with in case.
In case you haven't heard this, John became one of the best managers in the company.
How do you ask what someone has done today? Starting with what have.
What have you done today?
What do you wonder about the pearl necklace? Starting with I wonder.
I wonder if this pearl necklace will make her happy.
How do you ask if someone is really moving to New York? Starting with I heard.
I heard that you are moving to New York, am I right?
How do you ask someone to see if there is a drugstore nearby? Starting with is there.
Is there a drugstore around here?
What was the reason for his exam failure? Starting with the reason.
The reason why he failed the exam was because he simply didn't study hard enough.
What would you like to have to drink? Starting with I would.
I would like to have some Diet Coke.
How do you ask for confirmation about someone not having an interview? Starting with you mean.
You mean you didn't have an interview today?
Who is the worst person you know? Starting with no one.
No one is worse than my ex-boyfriend.
How do you suggest an alternative solution? Starting with what if.
What if you use the yellow tape instead?
How do you ask about the number of apples someone ate? Starting with how many.
How many apples did you eat today?
How do you ask about opening a door? Starting with how to.
How do you open this door?
How do you feel about him? Starting with I don't.
I don't like him that much.
What do you suggest I should do about calling her? Starting with why don't.
Why don't you give her a call and remind her that I'll stop by around 9?
How do you ask if this is the ring someone was looking for? Starting with is this.
Is this the ring that you're looking for?
By what time do you have to decide?
I have to make decision by 10:30.
How did you feel when you saw what happened? Starting with it goes.
It goes without saying that I was so upset to see that.
How do you feel about whatever decision is made? Starting with whatever you.
Whatever you decide doesn't make any difference to me.
What should you do about keeping promises? Starting with you should.
You should keep your promise, otherwise no one will trust you.
What will you do to prevent this problem in the future? Starting with I will.
I will make sure it won't happen again.
How do you ask if you can get someone anything? Starting with can I?
Can I get you anything?
How do you ask whose cellular phone this is? Starting with whose cellular?
Whose cell phone is this anyway?
What shouldn't you tell me about your ability to go there? Starting with don't tell.
Don't tell me you can't go there.
What would you appreciate? Starting with I would.
I would appreciate if you could share this information with your friends.
How do you ask about repair time? Starting with how long?
How long will it take to fix it?
When did she realize what she was talking about? Starting with she didn't.
She didn't realize when she was talking about when the teacher asked the question.
What warning do you give about someone's behavior? Starting with be careful.
Be careful, you are as bad as my ex-boyfriend.
How do you apologize for causing trouble? Starting with we are.
We are sorry for all the trouble we've caused you.
What does the weather look like? Starting with it looks.
It looks like it's going to rain.
What did he do when he was excited? Starting with he was.
He was so excited that he asked his personal assistant to buy everyone a drink.
How do you compare yourself to others? Starting with you are.
You are much better than me.
What wouldn't you say about Peter's friend? Starting with I wouldn't.
I wouldn't say Peter's friend is much better than he is.
Why didn't he want to give his name? Starting with no wonder.
No wonder they didn't want to give his name.
What do you guess happened to him? Starting with I guess.
I guess he must have fallen from the roof.
What can you do now that you've finished that task? Starting with having done.
Having done that, I guess I can go home now.
How do you ask about Jimmy's work status? Starting with how about?
How about Jimmy? Is he working today?
What happens no matter how hard you study? Starting with no matter.
No matter how hard I study, I can't seem to do any better.
What should someone be sure to do when they get to Tokyo? Starting with be sure.
Be sure to call me as soon as you get to Tokyo, will you?
What should someone do when she comes in? Starting with let me.
Let me know when she comes in.
How many sisters do you have? Starting with I have 2.
I have 2 sisters and both them are sick.
What is all you have to do? Starting with all you.
All you have to do is fill out this application form.
How do you ask if it's possible for someone to tell you how he's doing? Starting with would it?
Would it be possible for you to tell us how he's doing?
When can I call you? Starting with feel free to.
Feel free to call me whenever you want to play tennis.
How do you ask about the price someone paid? Starting with how much?
How much do you pay for that?
What seems to you about his attitude? Starting with it seems.
It seems to me he doesn't care about anything anymore.
How do you ask someone to open the door politely? Starting with would you?
Would you mind opening the door?
What can't you believe about this summer? Starting with I can't believe.
I can't believe this is my last summer camp that I attend with you guys.
What did he tell the police? Starting with there was.
There was nothing to do. That's what he said to the police.
What did John promise to do? Starting with John promised.
John promised to visit post office before he leaves for Egypt.
How do you ask someone to have him deliver something? Starting with will you?
Will you have him delivered to my office?
What turned out to have happened to them? Starting with it turned.
It turned out that they were struck by lightning.
Is there anything we can eat? Starting with there is.
There is some food on the table.
How do you ask why you aren't wearing a yellow uniform? Starting with how come?
How come you're not wearing a yellow uniform today?
What had you better realize? Starting with you'd better.
You'd better realize there's no other way to do that.
How do you ask what someone is doing up there? Starting with what are.
What are you doing up there?
What do you think about the point they made? Starting with while you.
While you may have pointed, there's anything to worry about.
What did Mr. Abdullah say about his feelings? Starting with Mr.
Abdullah said, the more I think about it, the more frustrated I get.
Abdullah. What will you do if it rains? Starting with if it.
If it rains, I'm not going out with you.
What would you rather do tonight? Starting with I'd
rather stay home tonight.
What do you say when someone leaves? Starting with thanks for?
Thanks for coming. Hope to see you again soon.
How do you feel right now? Starting with I feel.
I feel sick to my stomach.
What difficulty did you experience on the boat? Starting with I had.
I had a hard time controlling the boat.
What can't you stop doing about this thing? Starting with I can't.
I can't stop complaining about this thing.
What makes Peter worried? Starting with both Peter.
Both Peter and his friend like her that makes Peter worried.
What's obvious about his career path?
It's
It's obvious.
It's obvious he failed the exam twice before he became a broadcaster.
What will you do even if it rains? Starting with even if.
Even if it rains, I'm not going out with you.
How do you ask someone's opinion about the sleeping security guard? Starting with what do.
What do you think of the security guard who is sleeping while he's on duty?
How do you ask what makes someone think it's expensive? Starting with what makes.
What makes you think it's so expensive?
How do you ask the frequency of playing tennis? Starting with how often.
How often do you play tennis?
What do you hope will happen tomorrow? Starting with I hope.
I hope it snows all day long tomorrow.
What advice do you have for my health concern? Starting with you should.
You should call the doctor right away.
What do you need to do as soon as possible? Starting with I need.
I need to fix my call as soon as possible.
What's too bad about his situation? Starting with it's too.
It's too bad that he has no time for a study.
What's not easy for you to do? Starting with it's not.
It's not easy for me to learn English and Japanese at the same time.
What do you hate to admit about yourself? Starting with I hate.
I hate to admit it, but I'm vegetarian.
How do you ask if someone is surprised at the news? Starting with are you?
Are you surprised at the news?
How does this compare to the other one? Starting with this is.
This is better than the other one.
Who did you realize this was? Starting with it occurred.
It occurred to me this is John's last one of the season.
What are you afraid everyone must do? Starting with I am.
I'm afraid every one of you must leave this place at once.
How do you ask if someone wants you to verify something? Starting with do you?
Do you want me to verify that for you?
How do you ask where you can find those batteries? Starting with May 1.
May I ask you where can I find those batteries?
How do you ask to borrow someone's cell phone? Starting with is it?
Is it alright if I borrow your cell phone for a minute?
What happened when they asked his name? Starting with when they.
When they asked his name, he refused to the answer.
How do you ask someone to choose between two colors? Starting with which do.
Which do you like better, the red one or the yellow one?
How do you ask what happened when you see a mess? Starting with what a?
What a mess, what happened here?
How do you say someone doesn't know why another person is saying something? Starting with I don't.
I don't feel like going out tonight.
How do you feel about going out tonight? Starting with I don't.
I don't feel like going out tonight.
Why is he still around here despite his mistakes? Starting with that's why.
That's why he's still around here even though he keeps messing up like this.
How do you ask to see if they know how to cook? Starting with, do you know?
Do you know how to cook?
How much do you want something to drink right now? Starting with, I would.
I would like have some Diet Coke.
How can I feel better? Starting with once you.
Once you see all those animals, you should feel better.
How do you ask someone if they mind if I give them some advice? Starting with, do you mind?
Do you mind if I give you some advice on that?
What do you suggest doing before you go? Starting with, before I.
Before I go, why don't I take a picture of sleeping puppy?
What did he used to be? Starting with, he used.
He used to be a lawyer, but he retired last year.
How do you ask if it appears they're not doing their job? Starting with, it appears.
It appears they are not doing their job at all, am I right?
What do you have now that your children are in college? Starting with, now that.
Now that all my children are in college, I have a lot of free time to do this kind of thing.
How do you ask someone if they would bring more batteries? Starting with, would you?
Would you bring more batteries for me?
Where was it this morning? Starting with, it was.
It was here this morning, but it's gone now.
What are you supposed to do around here? Starting with, you are.
You are supposed to make decisions around here.